Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So, dolls, this is a quick before look at the new property that will be Aunt Janie and Aunt Bess's new dress shop. So, let's get started. Today, we're starting with the windows. So, now this is just an example of a window that I would normally put into my doll houses as a replacement window. And the sizes are pretty much standard. Usually when you're putting it into an existing house that are made today, they actually are cut the same size, so it's easy to replace them, maybe a little sanding, and you can fit them in perfectly. Well, that was not the case for this house. The windows were a lot smaller than the standard windows, so I had to make custom windows myself. Now, these are going to be non-opening windows. So these are official Little Gretchen's Workshop replacement windows. I'm just doing the actual window itself. I will be adding glass and framing it, trimming it out from the inside. But yeah, it won't be opening, nothing fancy, just a simple window. So let me show you how I did it. So dolls, I started out with a piece of graph paper. I actually cut a small piece a little bit bigger than the actual window. And then I actually marked the measurements in pencil on my wooden ruler, approximately the size of the opening. And then I brought it back to the graph paper and marked it on the squares where I wanted to create my template for the actual window. Now, dolls, it would be best practice to get a very accurate measurement of the inside of your window, of your dollhouse window, before you do a project like this. But I'm just showing you what I did to get my measurements, and yeah. So after I marked out the areas that I needed for the actual size of the inside of the window, I defined the area with a pencil and then cut it out with my scissors. Now I'm just using this to be more or less my template. I'm actually going to trace the shape of this template onto the front of a piece of wax paper where I'm actually going to construct the window. So I'm just tracing around what my actual template is. And actually, I'm marking the little piece of paper so that I'll be able to use it over and over because I actually need to make 9 of these windows. So after I made my template, I put it under the wax paper. Now here I'm making the marking for where I want the panes bars from the top to stop. So dolls, you'll be able to see in a minute what I mean because I'm actually going to construct the window on top of this template. Now this wood I'm using is from a bag of sticks that I got at the craft store. There are a lot of different sizes. I just kind of select out the ones that I need for a particular project. Now the ones I'm using on the outer edge are a little bit thicker and heavier, and the ones I use for the inside for the painting are a little bit smaller, just like I said, to give it a little bit of distinction. Now, dolls, this project is pretty tedious and it is time consuming. So if you're going to do something like this, I suggest that you are well rested and you have eaten. It took me about 4 hours to make 9 windows. It wasn't hard. It wasn't stressful. It was just tedious and it took some time. Now, I did use my 3-in-1 blocks and some of my Legos to help me stabilize and keep things square. Now, dolls, I promise you there are more mathematically accurate ways to do this. I'm just showing you what I did to get my result. Now, dolls, you'll definitely have to take your time and be patient with yourself with a project like this. And make sure you have everything handy, your glue, your blade, your saw. Now, dolls, as I was working, I only cut enough for 3 windows at a time, which worked out well since I needed to do a total of 9. And I did go back to the house on more than one occasion. I would just stop every couple windows to check and try it and see if it fit. And dolls, the funny part is I really love projects like this that really challenge me to be creative and think outside the box, to customize, to make it work. It reminds me of when I first got the rooming house. None of the windows were straight, things were broken, the wood was cracked and split. I had to figure out how to stabilize it and make it beautiful. Situations like this cause you to find a new way to try. When everything fits perfectly, it's no reason to think. But when there are challenges and problems, it causes you to grow as an artist, to learn how to flex your creative muscles. So dolls, I want you to go ahead and step outside your comfort zone so you can develop your confidence to know that there's nothing that you can't create. Now, dolls, I want to warn you at this point not to handle it too much. Allow the glue to set up because by the pieces of wood being very small and tiny, if the glue has not set up, you will lose the shape of your window and all you have is sticks. Now, after I felt like things were pretty stable and made sure that I could move those little Lego pieces freely in between those spaces, I just want to show you a couple that I made already. So they were turning out good. My production was running well. So despite all the changes and the setbacks regarding the dress shop, I think renovations are going well. So let's go ahead and try them inside the house. Now here it is. I'm trying it inside a window that I had torn out the frame too aggressively. And so there's going to have to be a little shimming and trimming going on in that one. Now this one looks like it's slightly bigger, but it's not necessarily that it's slightly bigger. I didn't remove the frame on it like I did that one in the higher window. So when it's time for me to install, I will need to trim a little bit of that out to make sure it goes in there nice and neat. But that's not going to be a problem at all, dolls. So I'm going to just step back and let you see a little bit better what's going on. How you can see it's in, but it's a little bit of that inner window needs to come out. Now this one, it was totally removed. That's why I'm able to sit it in so easily, but I will have to reinstall the trim around that and make it look right. Now here's another example as to why some of the windows don't fit properly. All of this wood was left inside the window when I removed the old ones. So when I clean all that out and smooth it and sand it, the other windows will fit in nicely. And here's a quick glance at the window in the kitchen. It fits in there absolutely perfect. So I'm really, really tickled about that because that's how I expect all of them to fit. So let's just try them out and see how they'll look. I just set the windows in all of the openings just so you'll get a feel of what the house will look like, the updated look as opposed to how it looked in the beginning of the video. It's really exciting to see how something this simple like new replacement windows for your dollhouse can really give the look a lift. I'm really excited about this project. Now, I'm not a real big fan of flower boxes, but in this instance, I think I'm going to leave the flower boxes on. I think they'll really lend to the cozy look of a dress shop. Plus, it'll add curb appeal. Now, I'm definitely going to have to do something with this door. Now, this is the original door. I'm kind of struggling as to whether I should replace it or not. It's kind of a cute door. I'm thinking if I just paint it and add a little pediment at the top, I can make it look better. Although I don't really mind the door, it's kind of narrow and the hinges are big on the inside. So that's my issue with it. I'm just looking at the roof. Roof is nice and solid, but I'm definitely going to have to paint it, age it, distress it, that type of thing. Now, I've been truly thinking about the outside of the house. I've been looking at the paint colors that I have on hand to determine which ones will look good, and I'm going to do some shutters as well. So dolls, I got so many ideas, I feel like I can't work as fast as I'm thinking. Okay, now dolls, this part isn't about windows, but I just have to show you what my ideas are really quick. So let's go inside the house. Now, dolls, I'm not solid on this, but this is what I'm thinking. I have this beautiful piece of flooring, and I was considering using this here in the kitchen. And I'm looking at that little checkered paper in the back. It looks like somebody had the same idea I was thinking about. So I'm going to use this checkered paper at the high part of the wall and then beadboard at the low part. And I definitely think the beadboard would help me conserve on paper and cover up some of the damage. So I need to get to work measuring those templates for the beadboard. So here we are in the bathroom. We definitely have to make sure the bathroom is operative before anybody occupies the house because we don't want problems like we had in the rooming house. But I really do love this blue paper for the walls, and I'm considering this yellow tile sheeting for the floor. So I have a lot of decisions to make, dolls. So let me go ahead and get back to these windows. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.